Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Let's Talk with Tammy, brought to you by BKNI Resources. BKNI Resources is a comprehensive consulting company in working with individuals, businesses, schools, government, and organizations. They have a 10-year-long track record in conducting seminars, workshops, and individual series on personal branding and appearances. For those of you who are tuning in for the very first time, this show features interesting personalities from all walks of life, sharing profound insights into relevant topics. My name is Tammy, your host, and the basis of this show has always been about me sharing my personal journey to learn anything that piques my interest. And for tonight's episode, I was so looking forward to it because it's just going to be a very casual Friday night chat with a dear friend, Raymond. Hello,
Hi
Ray.
everyone. Yes, my
Thank
name
you
is
so much
Raymond.
for saying yes to come onto the show.
Anything for you, Tammy. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good.
Great.
I actually, I mean, like what we posted on the poster
Hmm.
the last week. This episode is obviously way overdue. Like this,
Yes.
Ray is one of my closest friend who have not been on the show yet, compared to
I was
everyone else.
waiting for you to ask me, okay, Ray, please come on my show. But every week I'm just like, okay, it's okay. My time will come. But thank you for
Yes.
having me, Tammy.
So I would like to have give the audiences a proper introduction. Um,
Hmm.
so, so Raymond is from Cebu, Sarawak, and has been in Selangor, Klang Valley, for about 11 years now. He is a psychology major and just recently completed his master's in human resources management. And he advocates for diversity and inclusion and strongly believes that everyone deserves the same opportunity for growth and career prospects, regardless of their sexual orientation. So,
Yes.
in line with his motto and his values, today we're going to be talking or discussing or just casually sharing about experience as a gay person in Malaysia. So, I think we'll just dive right in. Growing up in a very
Hmm.
heteronormative world, right?
Very.
Um, I mean, yeah, it's there's a long way to go for that. But
Hmm.
how did you come in terms with your sexuality? Because obviously, is this going to feel wrong, sound wrong from the get go? Because there's nothing that shows that what you're experiencing is normal. So, how did you come to terms with that? When did you first realize?
Okay, so thank you for bringing up like how our world is very heteronormative.
Mm,
The thing about where I'm coming from, okay, now no hate for Cebu, my hometown, Sarawak. Right for those who does not know, it's right in the middle of Sarawak. Sarawak is on the other side of Malaysia. For those it's Sarawak and Sabah are two separate states. Okay, let's make that clear, and so no one makes any mistakes in
mm-hmm.
identifying. Hmm.
Especially for
So
the Western Malaysians.
yes, so where I'm from, right? So to give you a little bit of context, it's the people there, it's a very tranquil town, but the people there are quite traditional,
Mm,
or they don't. So, and specifically where I'm coming from, there's a lot of Christians,
mm.
particularly Catholics. So throughout my childhood, I do not know that LGBTQ community exists right until I am 15 years old. Now, a lot of people will be, wondering like, is he kidding? Is he telling the truth? Because you have media. Okay, so
Mm,
bear in mind. Oh yeah, okay. So I'm 30 years old. So long time ago, we don't have access to internet that have easy access to internet. So I actually don't. I can't just go hop onto YouTube, or I can't just hop onto Facebook. Facebook doesn't even exist. YouTube the same.
mm,
And then look for materials or look for information. Unlike these days. So for the longest time, I do not know that LGBTQ community exists. What happened was that, okay, so at about 15 years old, where one day, long story short, I met a guy, and he piqued my interest in the sense that okay, I like hanging out with this guy. So, for me, it's more about I want a friend. And then out of nowhere, at the corner of a building, and then he land a kiss on my lips, and then I realized that, oh wow, I don't hate it. I'm curious. I'm curious more about it now, and it kind of opened the door. A lot of things make sense that didn't make sense to me in the past, because I was stuck in that culture whereby at this certain age, after you graduate, after you get a stable job, and then you must find a spouse, specifically a wife for me, and then have kids, get married. Yeah, wait, get married then have kids. Sorry, wrong order. So yeah, right until I was about 15 years old, I did not know this community exists, and I was pretty much kept in the dark. And when I did, the first person I will come out is myself. I have to come out to myself saying that, okay, Ray, this is fine. It's a part of you, your identity, and it's because I struggled with it for a while. Like, I didn't accept who I was, or rather, I was afraid of who I was. Like, who is this person?
Right.
I was curious at first, and then over time, now because half of my families are very Christian, and all this while I've been feeding that sort of information. So
Right.
I thought that, okay, something is wrong with me, and the first person that eventually I have to come out to is myself. That, hey,
Right.
fine, like, this is just a part of who you are. So which is why when I came over to this side of Malaysia, in Selangor specifically, that's when I truly explore a little bit more about myself. And I came to the point whereby I realized that, you know what, it's better that I just come out to people, and it's better that I come out to people, because I have experience whereby I came out to friends from a long time ago, like back in high school, and their response obviously was not favorable. They were questioning, like, are you sure, is this a phase? If this is truly who you are, I have to reconsider our friendship. And we were friends for a few years, and it is disheartening to hear those things. But I mean, when I was in college, I make it a point whereby I don't want to hide this part of me, and I am comfortable telling people who I am. Now, eventually, I stopped shouting, "Hey guys, I'm gay." No, it's more about me slowly. If people ask, then I will tell. If they don't ask, then I'm not gonna tell, unless I want to build a friendship with them. So Tammy, do you remember how we first met? How do you?
Yes.
No, sorry, not first met. How do you remember how you first got to know about my sexuality?
Yes, and also remember how you were talking about how our life is always expected to, to date and then to have a spouse, to get married and everything. And I remember before answering your question, you were talking about how you wanted to date the most famous girl in school, the popular girl in your school or something.
Yes,
Did
I
you
told
say
you that.
that? Yeah.
I told you that, like, last time when we chat. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so at 12 years old, there was this really I would say beautiful girl that I wanted to date, because back then, people supposed
You're
to.
supposed to date a beautiful
Yeah,
girl.
I supposed to date. I just didn't know that I could date the same sex. So I tried to date her. I got rejected, and the reason, I mean, we didn't even get to kiss or anything. The reason was that I didn't fulfill her criteria because I was too short. So for those
Oh,
in the
right.
room, I'm 165 cm. Yes, I'm short.
Right,
But yeah,
okay.
yeah. So I mean, I felt bad for myself, but eventually, I'm kind of glad that I didn't get to date a girl, because I also don't want to hurt the person. When when I finally realized that, oh, I like certain kind of people.
Right. Yes, coming back to your question, when you finally came out to me and how you were offended because I was not surprised.
I mean, am I that obvious?
No, but it was just something just click and everything just kind of fell into place when you finally came out to me. Okay, all right. Okay,
Yes,
it makes
you
sense,
and a
kind
few
of.
others.
Yeah,
I was
yeah, yeah.
disappointed that I was so obvious. I thought I can hide this part of, I mean, not to say purposefully hide, more like, hide it and then wait for them to, I want to surprise them. Hey,
Right,
rainbow.
right.
Yes.
So you were talking about, coming out to yourself first, and then coming out
Yeah.
to your friends, and you're trying to be unapologetically yourself, be honest with yourself, and things like that. But
Yeah.
most of the time, we do struggle coming out to our parents. I mean, sometimes it's not even about our sexuality. Even coming out to your parents as a person, as your own person, can be a struggle.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
So it's like, telling your parents that I don't want to be a doctor, I don't want to be an engineer.
Mm,
That is, if you think that is stressful, wait until you tell them that, mom, dad, I don't want to marry a girl. So
right.
okay, so about coming out, right? For me personally, I would say that I have three levels of to come out. First
Mm,
one is towards people that I'm close with. Okay, so my friends, I mean, people that I know I can build a long-term relationship with. So like you, a few others, and I have no qualms about hiding myself from you guys, because I
right.
truly believe that, okay, if you don't agree with what I'm like, my own preference, then I don't see the need to build any relationship with you. Okay,
Right.
save my time, save your time, both of us can live our own life.
Mm,
So I'm always open in that sense. If you ask me, okay, I'll tell it to you honestly. But I get that, because sometimes the context can be a bit challenging, especially
right.
you're in a very conservative
Mm,
environment.
mm-hmm.
I would say that I am sometimes a bit more cautious until I get to know the people around. So that comes
Right.
to wait, not before level two. Okay, so still in level one. So I would really need to go get to know a person first. And obviously, if I sense that the people in the environment can be a bit hostile, especially towards someone with my identity, then I will be a bit more cautious about sharing who I am.
Right. Mm.
Okay, now, not telling the truth is not lying. So, okay,
Okay.
moving to, for me, the second level will be my family, because yeah, I
Mm,
put them in the second because they're not really the most accepting people in the world.
right.
So as of now, all my family members know, not all of them are exactly agreeable to
Mm-hmm.
who I am. And I have no, I mean, at least during Chinese New Year, I do not have to hear them saying like, when am I getting married and all. So I kind of dodged that question now. So there's a bright side to that. But the thing about coming out now, okay, so this is when it gets a little bit complicated. There are
Right.
times, long time ago, whereby I have to come out constantly to
Right.
my family. As well, my mom was one of them. I kind of came
Right.
out to her once. I wrote a letter to her because, obviously I was shy. I don't know how to voice my thoughts. And
Mm-hmm.
I wrote a letter to her telling her that, okay, hey, I don't like girls. I prefer men. Okay. And obviously she thought it was a joke. So
Right.
when we kind of buried that information in the, under our family rug up until I think in 2014 or 2015, I decided that, you know what, I'm hate that I came out and then I have to go back to the closet. Might as well
Right.
I come out full force. Like I tell her straight to her face, hey,
Mm,
this is me. Okay.
mm.
So my mom, I would say it's kind of like an open secret right now. So they know, but we don't really talk about it. My other
Right.
relatives, same thing. Sometimes I have to come out to them again. I have to sort of like tell them, because they will say things like, "Oh yeah, your cousin is getting married. When is your turn?" And then I will just look at them, and they were like, "Oh yeah, I forgot."
Right.
So
Right. Right.
yeah, because I don't know, they feel like they bury this deep down in their subconscious mind.
Mm-hmm.
So in that sense, I have to constantly come out. Then
Yeah.
the level three that I was talking about is, see, people think that coming out is an easy process. It's
Mm,
not, because whenever you move to a new environment, you always have to come out. You have to figure out, like, okay, do I have to tell these people? Is it safe to tell these people? And it's an ongoing process.
Right.
This is why I eventually get to the point whereby I don't announce it to the world. It's more about, okay, if you ask, I will tell. Like,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
because that's the thing about coming out. Whenever you move to a new place to live, whether it's a country or a new state and whatnot, people always ask as part of small talk. Oh, do you have a wife? Do you have a husband? When are you gonna
Yeah.
have kids?
It's a very common small talk, so common questions you ask to catch up.
Yeah. And then every
Mm.
time I have to tell them, like, okay, that's not who I am. They'll be like, oh, really? Tell me more about yourself. What happened in the past? When did you find out? So it's
Mm.
the same routine. It gets tiring.
Right.
Yeah. And like I said earlier, sometimes when you move to a new environment, you also have to be cautious a little bit about who is in the environment and who is listening, who is
Right.
receiving the message. Yes.
Mm-mm-mm. Okay. Right. I've got a follow-up question to that. But before that, I see quite a number of you are watching already. So for those of you who are tuning in, if you have any questions at all, any comments at all for Raymond, if you're watching it on Facebook or YouTube, you just have to comment and I can actually show the comments to Raymond for him to answer your questions. So
Oh,
I'm going to, yeah.
sorry. No, I just want to add on something about coming out.
Yeah, sure, please.
Okay, so guys, next Monday is National Coming Out Day, which is on the 11th of October. Now,
October, yeah.
you'll be asking me, what is this holiday? It's not a holiday. It's just an event that the LGBTQ community has. So about coming out. Now, I'm comfortable with myself enough to come out to people.
Mm-hmm.
But I just want to share this message to the younger audience, or especially people who are struggling with their identity. You don't have to come out. You don't have to feel like you have, I need to be loud and proud. You don't have to. You can be quiet because it's loud enough these days.
Right.
Yeah. Take your time and make sure that this is my personal opinion and maybe unpopular. Sometimes you really have to make sure that you can stand on your 2 feet before you make a big decision as to telling people who you are, because it can go both ways. People either will be very accepting or people will be struggling to understand this identity that they have never encountered before. It's foreign. And as you know, in terms of human psychology, when we are unfamiliar with a concept, we tend to avoid it. We tend to question it. We tend to be a bit more cautious about it. Okay, so coming out, it's not a one-time thing. It's a process, and you don't have to feel like I have to come out now because everyone is doing it. You take your time.
That's very true.
Yeah, be comfortable with yourself first.
Okay. Right.
Yes.
So I'm going to show you some comments. So Yang says, love you guys.
Love you, Yang.
Okay. And Shah says, we should get together soon.
Yes.
Okay. So Yang has a question. I think it is a kind of like a follow-up question to what you were saying. Being gay in Malaysia, at what moments or scenarios do you feel unsafe as a gay man? The kind that makes you watch your back kind of situation.
Okay. So first thing first, I would say that depends on which part of Malaysia. So that's another level of discussion. Back in my hometown, obviously, if you show things like holding hands, hugging a guy, people will be saying things like, oh, "Why are you so sissy?" or "What is this? Guys don't do this, bro." Knuckle punch or whatnot.
No.
Yeah. So okay. So in that sense, right, it depends on where you're talking about. Now, KL, because I've been living here for like. Technically, I don't live in KL, but I live near KL. I've been living here for at least, as you said, almost 11 years. I do find that the scene here is relatively more open. People generally are more accepting. It is a big city, and obviously, with globalization, all the foreign companies, MNC coming in, so you have that aspect of diversity and inclusion. So in one way or another, people here have higher knowledge, more knowledge in terms of how identity works, or how LGBTQ community are not spreading the gay agenda. We're not trying to convert everyone to become a homo. We are just trying to live our life and want some equality in all of this. Okay, so in terms of living around chaos, relatively safer. But yes, I do. There are times when you get a little bit closer to the same sex. Okay, now, so here's another thing. I will speak from my perspective as a male individual, because another thing about sex, male, female, if girls hold hands, hug each other on the street, okay, or even kiss each other on the cheek, no one will think twice about it. Oh, it's just girls being, yeah,
because we do that with our girlfriends.
yeah. So why can't guys do that with guy
Platonically.
friends? I mean, straight guy friends. But anyway, so yeah, even so, when I do those things, if I do it to a girl, no one will care. But if I
Yeah.
do it to another guy who
Right.
appears a bit more effeminate, not like the typical masculine guy, it's even worse if I do that to a typical masculine guy. People would tend to look back like, did the guy just kiss him on the cheek? So
Yeah.
in that sense, okay, so people will either look at you, stare at you. Either some some yaoi friends will be like, fans will be, oh my god, they're kissing. Some will be it's like, stay away from that person. So, and some, though I'm lucky enough to never encounter such people, will actually, and there are stories whereby they will follow you and corner you, and then
Right.
throw insults at you. So in that sense, yes, it can be a bit scary, and sometimes many of us, especially in dodgy areas, we do have to look behind our back. We can't hold hands. We can't, be close to one another.
Right. Okay. Speaking of yaoi, young Safia has another question. What do you think about the irony of Malaysia being so against homosexuality, and yet our bookstores openly sell queer lit? It's about 10% of young adult books in popular is queer now.
Well, it goes to show that there is a market for it, and why are
Right.
people? Okay, what do you think about the irony? So I would say that you're reading YA, you're reading all this romance. It's essentially a romantic novel. Okay.
Right.
You enjoy the love shared between these two characters, regardless of their gender or sex. So people like that. And people like a good romance book because the world is so loveless sometimes. So yeah. The irony. So what do I think about the irony? I think it's the irony. It's ironic that you enjoy these books, but at the same time, you are okay. So it's the whole idea of how you enjoy it as a theory, but you don't like it as a practice. Okay, like I enjoy this imagination, this fantasy of it, but when it's happening right in front of me, oh no. You stay in my imagination. Don't bring it out. Yeah, but it is, I guess, a guilty pleasure that some people have.
Right. Okay. And yeah, like young Safia says, she has 3 questions. So her third question is, which is, do you feel the pressure to behave stereotypically gay in order to implicitly communicate your sexuality to people? Like Young walks around with her hijab, thus it clearly shows that she's Muslim. So it's a marker of her identity. So do you think you need to behave a certain way so that you kind of like, can tell people you're gay without actually verbalizing it?
So my question is, what is a stereotypical gay?
Okay.
Yeah. So I suppose I think that we are going to discuss this later, but I suppose in terms of to answer Young's question, well, I feel like sometimes I feel pressure to behave in the opposite way. Okay, like to be hey guys, I'm a dude. But again, it depends on context.
Right.
Because people who knows me, I have no problem just being myself, and this is myself. The way I use my hand gestures, the way I talk. even with strangers, I don't have this. I mean, I watch how I flip my hand and whatnot. I think I'm so comfortable with myself
Mm-hmm.
that I don't have to do that. Okay, I'll just be me. Okay,
Right.
obviously in formal settings, I'll be a bit more formal with my hand
Mm-hmm.
gestures, the way I talk. Uh, do I feel if let's say in the community itself, right? No, at least in Malaysia, what I can say is, at least in Selangor, the
Mm-hmm.
state I'm staying in right now, I don't feel that pressure I have to be a stereotypical gay guy. Mm.
Right. Okay. Thank you, Yang, for your questions. Okay, I have a follow-up question to Yang, which, like you
Mm.
said, we were planning to talk about anyway, which
Mm.
is about I think before we go into that stereotypical characteristics, I just am curious if toxic masculinity prevalent in gay community as well.
I have to say yes. Okay, so
Okay.
looking at the community itself, okay, not going to compare it with the heterosexual community. So in
Mm-hmm.
terms of toxic masculinity, yes. If you look at my Instagram feed, you would know
Right.
most of the time there are guys at the gym, there are guys who are extremely buff with abs and all, and we all feel very conscious about how we look as
Right.
a gay individual. Now, another thing I need to point out is that I am speaking from the G of the LGBT side.
Mm,
Okay, the L, the B, and the T have their own perceptions. So
right.
I would just want people to know that I cannot speak on their behalf. I can speak at the
Right.
distance.
Sure.
Okay, so yes, the toxic masculinity it is very much present in the community,
Right.
and people always, and you can tell people always feel like they need to go for gyms. And during the
Mm,
lockdown, I have so many friends who are complaining that, oh my god, I can't go to the gym, oh my god, home workout is not the same, oh my abs are getting flappy and blah blah blah. Okay, I okay, and to be frank, I also feel like that sometimes, so which is why during the lockdown I try to do some home workouts just a little bit to at least stay active, number one, and
right.
also to maintain some body image, my perception of how my body image will look like.
Mm,
Okay, so now I would say, now comparing with the heteronormative community, there is some similarity in terms of how straight guy behave and how gay guys behave. The whole
right.
toxic masculinity part, okay, objectively speaking, they are good looking. Men with chest, abs, this all these muscles, they are good
Mm-hmm.
looking.
Mm-hmm.
And then people feel the pressure to look like them. It's all part
Right.
of our attractiveness. Okay. And listen, if you want to have good body, if you want to build up those chest muscles, those abs, those biceps, triceps, go for it. I'm all for positive body image positivity. Okay. The thing is, we sort of glorify them to the
Mm,
point whereby you have to look like that in order to be attractive, to
right.
be um, to be worth chasing after.
Mm-mm-mm.
Yes. So this is why a lot of people, the moment the gyms are open, right, you see a lot of people rushing to the gym, and I my assumption is that most of them are gay.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. But that is, the masculine side of thing. And I've also read about how among within the gay community, there's also femphobia. Can you elaborate a little
Um,
bit? What is femphobia?
okay. So I know a lot of people from a lot of gay guys would not like to hear this, but I have to say it.
Right.
Quite
Mm-hmm.
a lot of them are misogynist in many ways, and I
Right.
would say this is a form of socialization process, because
Mm-hmm.
when you are young, and I mean this
Right.
happens to all the guys lah. When you're young, you're being feeding all this social media or this cultural norms whereby guys cannot show emotions, or
Mm.
guys cannot be feminine or sissy, or otherwise you'd be called aqua or sissy, and
Mm-hmm.
so this is all internalized. So when you have this sort of mindset,
Mm-hmm.
you develop this personality that you are, I can't be feminine Okay, no man will want me, which is ironic. For feminine or being feminine, being a femme is considered weak because,
Right.
and this is the internalized thought processes that people tend to not think about, women
Mm-hmm.
are weak. I
Of
can't be like
course.
a woman. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I need to go to the gym and work out as much as possible.
Right.
Yes. So this is a very internalized thought
Mm.
process that, I mean, we are all we all grow up like being fed all this information, and it takes a while for us to unravel that and
Mm-hmm.
relook at our thought processes. Why do we think like that? Okay,
Mm.
so hence this thing, I would say we are quite similar to masculine straight men.
Mm-mm-mm.
Mm.
Okay. Okay. So while we are at it, I think I'm just going to show another question from Ian. You ever been in a situation where people ask about your sexuality when that is something you're not paying attention to?
Oh, mm, okay. I'm not sure what you mean by when I'm not paying attention to. I suppose like catching me off guard. Yeah, they are. I think okay, so back in college or back in university, I am quite, I was discovering myself. So I want to be proud of who I am. So
Mm.
I would do a lot of things to affirm my identity, and I will exaggerate the way I talk, the way I like, do my gesture, like hey girl, and things like that. So obviously people will sort of notice. Uh and I suppose that you also notice, uh, that's why you're not surprised
Yeah.
when I came out to you.
Mm.
Okay.
Okay.
Um, so there's that aspect when people, yeah. So there are situations when people ask me, and I actually don't mind. Okay. So I know that some people would mind that you
Mm-hmm.
don't ask them these things. I get it because it's quite a private matter. Like people don't come up to you and ask, "Are you straight?"
Exactly.
Yes.
Because that's
So,
the default.
mm, so in that sense, the thing where am I going with this? Okay, so for me personally, I don't mind if you want to come and ask just to
Mm-hmm.
clarify things, or just to like how it's asking people politely, what's your preferred pronouns? Do you want to be called
Mm.
he, she, they? And for me personally, that's the way I look at it, unless people come and ask me like, hey, you gay? And I'm like, can you ask it a little bit nicely, like politely, please? So
Correct.
there's that
Correct.
aspect.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to go into the more interesting part of the show.
Hmm.
So I have a question, Ray. Is it tougher to find love as a gay person?
In general or in Malaysia?
Okay, I want to know both.
Um, let's talk about Malaysia.
Mm.
Okay, or rather, let's talk about the state I'm in right now. Um, so is it difficult? I think with technology these days, it's not that difficult. You can just go
Okay.
to a certain app, and then I mean, you can even go on Tinder and then just try to find people around you match. But if you want a more organic way of finding a relationship, it's okay. Back then, it is quite an issue because people are quite, even homosexuals are quite homophobe themselves, or they don't want people to know that they are
Mm.
homosexuals.
Yeah.
Okay, but today I would say it's not really a big issue. Like I said, you
Mm.
can easily go on apps, and if you suspect whether someone is a gay, just go on the app and look at the person. If is it on the app? Oh, okay, he is there. Okay, so he's gay. Or
Right.
there's another way. Once you have certain information, you can always again just check social media and see how many mutual friends you have.
Mm-mm-mm-mm.
Hmm. So
Because
I
you
was
guys are pretty close knit. Would you say that you guys are pretty close knit as a community?
yes. So most people would know one another.
Mm.
Mm.
Okay.
So I
Is that a good
so
thing or a bad thing?
depending on perspective.
Right.
So the next thing I want to, I have myself a question to ask you. As a heterosexual female, is it hard
Uh-huh.
to find a person to date?
Uh, if I'm speaking for the general public, I would say it's easy actually.
Okay, it's
Mm-hmm.
in what sense? Like, can you just go to a bar, pick up someone?
No, I personally don't believe that because I don't think that's safe. But yeah, like what you said, going on dating apps would be one way, and
Mm-hmm.
also meeting organically, going out with friends, doing new things, going to new places, joining a new activity. Then you might meet somebody, make new friends. Then that's how you would want to. But you
Okay.
see, all this thing that we're talking right now is more towards how we meet someone,
Yep.
but that person not necessarily will be your love,
Oh
right? We
yeah.
can date, right? So which is what Young has also asked. Easy in terms of love or being intimate with people. So yeah, of course it's easy to find people on dating apps. It's easy for that. But
Mm.
I'm talking in terms about, finding a
Okay.
genuine relationship.
Ah, so being passionate with someone, having a long-term relationship with this person.
Commitment, yes.
Okay. Um, it all comes down to what is the intention of the other person and your
Mhm.
personal intention.
Right.
Okay. Okay. Again, not going to compare with the heteronormative community.
Mhm.
So within the gay community alone, um, there are I mean, for me, long time ago as well. There are people who wants a committed relationship. Okay, meaning, okay, you stay in this relationship and do not go out and flirt with other people. Um, so in that sense, you just have to find the right person for it.
Mhm.
Okay, so you know how people keep saying that there are many fishes out there
Uh-huh.
in the in the ocean, but not
Yeah,
every fish wants to be caught.
exactly.
Yes. So among all those fish, you just have to find the right one, the right. Uh, okay, to say that you're the fisherman and then the fish catching it is not really a good metaphor. Okay. You just have to find someone with the same intention, and that itself is quite difficult. And now I'm going
Right.
to talk compare it, even within the heterosexual community, that is very difficult to
I
find.
would say it's getting harder.
Hmm. In what?
Yeah, it is getting harder.
Why so?
I don't know. I think personally, I would say I don't get the current dating culture. So, yeah. So,
So,
yeah, that's the thing. So, I'm wondering if
mm,
it's going to be the same thing. I mean, it's already difficult with the heterosexual community, and heterosexual community is the majority
yeah.
of us. That's the majority of us, right? And you guys
Mm,
are already a small community. And if this small community is already looking into, like all the other things that's happening around us, just like every other community, just like how the kids these days are into, this whole hookup culture or casual relationship culture and things like that.
mm.
That just means it's going to be much more harder for you guys as well. Because if you are also following that trend, since you are already a minority.
Um, okay. So I'm trying to think about what you have just said. Uh,
Yeah, Young agrees. People in general, regardless of sexuality, have trouble forming committed relationships.
okay. So I'm sorry. Like, 'cause I'm gonna ask the next question. What is a committed relationship? So, I learned psychology, right?
Right.
When you talk about relationship, right, there are two things to consider as well. Well, you have
Mm-hmm.
monogamy. You
Right.
have social monogamy and you have sexual monogamy. Okay,
Right.
social monogamy. Social monogamy is based. So monogamy in general means that you are in a committed relationship with this person or persons. Okay,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
get that in a bit. Then in social monogamy, you are in a relationship, a social relationship with this one person alone. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
um, and then the next level is sexual monogamy, whereby you have sexual activities with another person, this person alone. So in terms of a committed relationship, now you have to redefine a little bit what is a committed relationship.
Right.
Yeah. So, okay, I know I'm going off topic a little bit, but no. So hear me out. When you talk about relationship, yes, like what? Okay, so like what Tammy has said, nowadays you have a hookup culture. You have a lot of things that doesn't make sense to us millennials, or rather, yeah. But then that's just if you look at the context of everything, maybe that's just the way how relationship has evolved. Okay, a long time ago, if you really look at it, divorce was not a thing.
Yeah.
And if you really think about it, divorce and breakups are are a component of a relationship.
Yeah.
So, and sometimes when people divorce, right, we see this as a very sad thing. Oh, you two have been together for so long. Why do you split up? You also need to consider the fact that maybe the couple just can't find love anymore, and and if you trap yourself in the ideal that okay, you have to stay together till death do us apart, you're gonna live a very miserable life.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So it's just that now this again is my personal opinion. When you look at the the gay culture, not just in Malaysia, like around the world, okay, because we're already marginalized, we already sort of have to break norms. We have to try different things. I mean, our relationship itself with the next person is considered not normal,
Not natural. Yeah.
not natural. Yes. So when you think about things like that, okay, obviously, what is stopping us? Why can't I include other aspects? Like, why do I have to stay with this? Okay, forgive me, this heterosexual perspective of a relationship,
Yeah. Very
which is
true.
also changing. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So some people, how they define their committed relationship is they may be sexually monogamous, and that's fine. They may only be socially monogamous, but sexually they can, do whatever they want. So I'm talking about in general, yeah. So there's that aspect that you need to look at. So okay, so I will say personally, I'm still trying to understand this whole dating scene, this whole changing relationship, how relationship is being morphed into something else altogether.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm still learning. I am.
But do you have the pressure though? Do you have the pressure to conform? Like, oh, this is what people are doing these days. Maybe I should change as well.
I
Do
have
you
the
have
pressure
that?
to conform within the community.
Okay.
Yeah, like what the community is doing. Do I adopt it? Do I follow them? Will I be seen as an outcast if I don't follow what they're doing? So yes, you can also be discriminated within your own community.
Simply because you choose to be yourself and not because you're not conforming.
Yeah, exactly. So, like I said, if let's say you're a femme person and your entire friends group are all very masculine, in a way, you also feel pressure to be like them. Yeah. So this goes back to your earlier question, actually.
I think Young has another question, but I think it ties back to what you said about gay relationship in itself is already deemed not natural. So what's stopping you guys to do other variations, for example, polyamory and all those things?
Yeah, because we're already sort of not conforming to how a typical relationship should be. So that's why a lot of people within the LGBT community would consider things like polyamory, which is a very foreign concept to many people, especially those of older generations. Because how could you, quote unquote, love more than one person? Okay, so for those who doesn't know what's polyamory, it means basically you have a you have a passionate love to more than one person in a relationship. So I can have, it's not just a one-time thing. I remain monogamous to 3 people or 4 people, or how many people you want at a time. Okay, and yeah, like I said, we're already breaking this sort of norm to begin with. What's stopping us? Why can't we consider this aspect as well? And there are heterosexual couples who also consider this polyamory as well.
Honestly, all the accounts of polyamory that I've read and watched about, they're all heterosexual couples.
There you go. It's just that
Yeah.
because people always have this stereotype. Oh, homosexuals just or gay people just want to. They're just lustful and they just want to uh, have fun. Okay,
Yeah.
so but then again, that's a misconception, and I mean it's true. But straight people also just want to have fun sometimes.
Yeah.
So yeah, you have this sort of aspect to think about.
Mm. But in that way, right, do you think you guys have more freedom since you are already being seen that way? So you feel like compared to like heterosexual people, right? We have
Hmm.
rules to conform already, like
Yeah.
established rules to conform. And do you think you have more freedom in exploring, you would say?
Oh yeah, definitely. So it's like, what do we have to lose?
Mm.
Um, so we do have that freedom to explore, and which is why many times you also the media the way they depict us like oh we do not conform to societal norms or we defile the sanctity of marriage and things like that, and people may piggyback on that and try to attack the community with that sort of mindset. Okay,
Mm-mm.
yeah, as you said, some heterosexual couples would want to try that out, but because they are still within their own community, and there's this pressure that you can't get a divorce, you can only love your husband and wife forever. So we don't have that pressure. I mean, we faced that pressure a long time ago.
Right.
So that's why we are more open to explore different avenues of a relationship.
I have this question, and I love this question. I think it's like a perfect way to, conclude this part of the interview. If you had to choose, would you prefer this lack of structure in the gay community, or would you prefer the established concepts of a relationship in the heteronormative community?
Personally speaking, would you prefer this lack of structure? I would choose the. I would say I want the path whereby I have more freedom to explore. Now,
Okay.
okay, I sound old for saying this. I'm from a generation who I do prefer to be in a committed relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I don't want.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want. Doesn't mean I agree. Doesn't mean I do not agree. I personally don't want polyamory.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, because there's just too many things going on. I mean, taking care of
It's
myself is.
more of it's more of the time constraint, I would say.
I mean, how every couple or couples define their own relationship. But
Yeah.
personally, I would want a committed relationship with someone.
Mm-hmm.
So in that sense, I would say I want that sort of structure.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of how I define, and me and my partner define that committed relationship, that's that requires open communication, which I would say even within the gay community, sometimes a lot of people lack.
Communication.
Not just communication, open, honest
Open
communication.
communication. Yeah, open and honest communication. Yes.
Hmm.
Okay. Thank you, Kenny, for the question. Right. So, I think I just want to ask one last question.
Hmm.
In regards to, you were talking about how, the gay community do put a lot of importance on physical appearances and things like that.
Yes.
So, even to catch a date, is it
Hmm.
harder if you don't, fulfill the criteria on the aesthetics part?
I'm gonna go multi-level for this. So,
Okay, go
so
ahead.
one way we can find a date these days is through the apps. Okay. Now, through the apps, obviously you have a first-hand view of the person. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
In our little brain, we will filter out who is attractive and who is not attractive. So let's look at
Yep.
Tinder. Okay, Tinder. Okay, because it's very fast. So you're
Mm-hmm.
attractive, right? You're ugly, left. So you
Right.
kind of already filter out. Now you don't even get to know those who are supposedly by social standard ugly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so um, in that sense, we already have this perception of the kind of people that we want to be with. So
Right.
so within a community, you have to look good, preferably clear skin,
Oh wow.
Impossible standards,
Okay.
symmetrical if you can.
What? You have
Okay,
to be symmetrical. Is
I mean,
it?
everyone prefer if you are a little bit symmetrical, not lopsided, like one side is bigger than the other.
Wow. Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, that is for straight people as well. But okay, I mean,
Right.
I'm
I don't have a symmetrical face.
no one has a symmetrical face. So,
Right.
okay, a personal experience. Now, I'm guilty of this. Whenever we look at, let's say Tinder,
Uh-huh.
uh, usually you filter out the face first. Okay, how is the
Mm-hmm.
face? How does it look like? Preferably clear skin or good complexion. Next thing, how is this person body wise? Like, like, is it skinny? Is it obese? Is it overweight? Is it flabby? Or does this person have abs? So those with the
Right.
abs, those with the muscles, automatically swipe to the right.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. And personality, unfortunately, will come towards the end. And this by now, you already figured out so many people.
So many.
Yes. And oftentimes you end up with people with similar personalities, which is why people always complain, why can't I find a decent guy here? Yeah.
Sounds like me, but okay.
So there is a lot of similarities, within the heterosexual and the homosexuals.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Exactly, Yang. And I thought I was picky.
wow, good. Now you know, Yang. Okay,
Oh yeah,
so
Kenny has something to add as well, and the ability to form coherent English sentences.
okay, now it depends on uh okay, so this is already going multi-level. Yes, personally, because I care about communication, if you
Uh-huh.
cannot speak properly, I, I,
Is he dissing you?
I don't know. I hope not. But yeah, there are some people who prefer a bit someone who is more intelligent, but that is looking at the personality side, and this is to assume that the person swipe rights on you as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that is on the apps. Now, when you meet a person at a social gathering, again, usually our eyes will go straight to the people who are physically attractive, tall, dark, handsome, well dressed, well, uh, and oftentimes we tend to neglect those who do not fit the ideal standards of beauty or
Yeah.
attractiveness,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
Only when you get to talk to the person, like interact with the person, and that's when you realize, oh, okay, I prefer this guy over that one who looks like a jock and all. Now, I'm not saying those with like nice bodies or good hair or good complexion are bad people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying that people oftentimes have a very skewed perception of what, you know, uh, like they have a very skewed perception of who they like.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Right.
Yeah, and I'm gonna go psychology here. We
Mm-hmm.
tend to associate beautiful things with good qualities. I think it's called a
Mm.
halo effect. Hmm,
Right. Right. Right.
yeah.
Okay.
So if you're beautiful, or by societal standard, you automatically have all the good personality, good qualities, and we get so surprised when they don't have these good qualities.
Mm. It's so interesting.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk a little bit about relationship again, but this
Okay.
is like in case, um, just in case, how to say, you finally do get into relationships, right? And I'm asking this question again from a very heterosexual lens.
Mm.
Okay. um, do heteronormative gender roles exist in homosexual relationships? Like, is there, like, once you have, okay, let's say you are in a committed relationship, you're living together, is
Yeah.
there like the man of the house? Is there like the woman of the house, like the one that is more nurturing, the one that is more about, taking care of, like, probably fixing the light bulbs, that'll be that one person. Is
Yeah.
there something like that? Yeah.
Oftentimes, yes. And again, I'm guilty of this myself in my past relationship. Yes, oftentimes, I don't know, like because it's so internalized, we internalize all this what is a relationship from social media. And
Mm-hmm.
oftentimes on social media, you see the man of the house bringing home the bacon, and then the
Right.
woman of the house who is like, cleaning up things, making sure everything is run smoothly. Okay.
Right.
So that gender role is it's still embedded in us, at least for my generations. I don't know about
Mm-hmm.
the youngsters these days. Maybe they're more
Mm-hmm.
woke.
Maybe.
So maybe. And when it comes to like a homosexual relationship, now again, I'm speaking from the male side. I don't know about the female, like the lesbian side. Maybe you can ask someone else in the future. There
Mm-hmm.
is this gender role expectation, and sometimes it's not set by the other person, it's set by yourself.
Oh, okay.
So if you feel like, okay, I'm more domesticated, I'm more domestic, I will clean the house, I will make sure all is taken care of, or I just want you to come home, talk about your feelings, and have a nice dinner together with me. So we have that. And then you also have like the more the masculine, the one bringing home the bacon. Those people will be like, they feel the need that, oh, I must take care of my little wifey. I mean, this is, yeah, I must take care of the house. If I can't do this, I feel like I fail as a man.
Right,
So
right, right.
this is pretty much embedded in us, and
Mm-hmm.
it's really hard to break this role,
Mm.
because sometimes we're not conscious of it.
Right.
Now, again, this all comes down to open communication.
Mm.
What does it mean to like who brings home the bacon, or what does it mean that you have to be domesticated? Not
Right.
necessarily. And today, which I'm glad to see, also like heterosexual couples, the wife doesn't have to be the one cleaning the house. The wife can go out and work. The husband
Yes.
doesn't have to be the one working a full-time job. The husband can take care of the baby.
Yes.
So it's slowly changing. So that's why I have hope for the future generations. But
Okay.
those around our age, I think it is a mindset that is difficult to get out of.
Mm.
Or at least we
Okay.
need to be aware of what we're doing.
Okay. Okay. Do you think representation in media matters? And do you think representation in media is very stereotypical?
Um, okay, I'm gonna ask. I suppose as a Malaysian, throughout the years we get a lot of media from like from especially from America. So
Yeah.
in terms of representation, yes, it's it's nice to see people that we can relate to on social media. Okay. However, now again, I'm looking at the Western social media that is like, in Malaysia, and that is on Netflix and all these
Mm-hmm.
platforms. Oftentimes, and a lot of people argue how like the there's a stereotype. Like you're supposed to be flamboyant, you're supposed to be loud,
Yeah.
yeah. While it's fun, while it's good that they are showing more LGBTQ people, at the same time, you would, as for myself, I will be asking, like, can't you show a different personality type? Yeah, because okay, personally now, I like watching RuPaul and whatnot. So
Mm-hmm.
okay, that is like a very stereotypical way of how people when they think about gay community, and that's and people who like they want to use all the slangs or behave like people in on the show. Again, I'm fine with that, but don't expect all of us to
Right.
behave like that. Okay, personally, I'm
Mm.
more of a geek, so I like games, I like playing video games. I am also I'm into extreme sports, so rock climbing, if I can, bungee jumping and skydiving. I would prefer to do all those things, which you don't see. You oftentimes don't see on social media, like how gays are being portrayed. They're
Mm-hmm.
oftentimes portrayed as like loud, femme.
Right.
Yes, yeah. Okay. Now in Malaysia, unfortunately, I don't think there is any representation of us
Mm-hmm.
for
Mm-hmm.
all its. I mean, yeah. So so unfortunately, yeah, we only get all this representation from outside of Malaysia.
Right.
Mm.
Okay. I like what you said about how, they are so stereotypical. And when it comes to, and you have to keep telling people that, not all gays are like that. We
Yeah.
have different hobbies, we have various hobbies and things like that. And I think earlier I was reading about how gays have stereotypical occupations as well. They're mostly going to be dancers, and sometimes it's not because all gay guys like to dance. It's more because that field is more accepting of people of different sexuality, and that's why people tend to gravitate towards those kind of fields. Dancing,
Yeah,
arts, the arts field are much more accepting of different kind of people. But
exactly.
somehow that gets stereotyped, like, oh, okay, all gay guys dance, or all gay guys do this kind
Yeah,
of thing.
I heard this recently as well. Apparently, in HR, there's a lot of gay guys as well. I'm like, really? I don't
HR?
know. Yeah, I was,
Oh, okay.
I'm curious. I mean, I don't know whether it's true, but this is what I heard.
Right. Okay. Since we're talking about work, you did do a research for your master's degree
Yes.
about the LGBTQ community. Do you want to share a little bit about that?
Okay, so for context, I did master in human resource management, not because I'm gay, but because because it was something interesting. But yeah, one of my final year paper was on diversity and inclusion. And I want to look at how, because no research has been done on the LGBTQ community in workforce, at least not many. So I want to look at that. And what my data found was that in terms of job satisfaction and job performance, a LGBTQ community does not, if you identify as the LGBTQ community, you do not have a lower job satisfaction or job performance as long as in the work environment there's no discrimination. Okay, it's because of discrimination that's how it affects their performance, their satisfaction with work, and makes productivity wise goes down. Not because of your identity, it's because of
Right.
how other people treat you.
Okay. Right. I think we are reaching at the end of the show already. I have 3 questions that I picked online. 3 pressing questions posed towards the gay community. The first question really cracked me up because it really, it reminded me of a funny video. But this
Okay.
question is legit. Why are people gay? Why are you gay, Ray?
Well, okay. I suppose I choose to be gay because I want to be discriminated. I know I want people to look at me differently. That's why I'm gay. It's obviously biological. And even if I choose, even if it's a choice, none of your business.
Thank you. Okay, so second question. Why is that's so gay, so offensive, if people don't mean anything by it?
Okay, I suppose what you meant by that is like when, okay, let's say someone do something and then it's like, dude, why you so gay? Is that what you're trying to say? Okay.
Yeah.
It's the same way as saying how to change the context of it. It's the same way as like, hey, why are you so Chinese? Or why are you so Indian? What does that mean? What does it mean by why you so gay? Okay. Then when you ask them that kind of question, I personally encountered before, they will be a bit defensive. They're like, oh no, I'm just saying. Like, so are you saying gay equates negative connotation? So yeah, so that's why people most of the time don't like. Actually, no.
And that's what people do when they give offensive jokes, isn't it? They just hide behind, oh, I didn't mean anything by it.
Exactly. So same thing.
Yeah. Okay. And third question. I think this is quite interesting. Is the gaydar real?
No. Because if it's real, mine is broken.
Okay.
Oftentimes, like I thought someone was gay, and then I get to find out, no, they're just straight. And obviously, for mine at least, it's broken, and I don't think it's real.
Okay, I have a comment here from. Sorry, what's that?
If you want to know whether someone is gay, just go to the apps, or just be politely go and ask them like, hey, you look attractive. You want to date?
If they say no, then no, right?
Yes, and they shouldn't be offended by it because you're attractive enough to make me want to go and ask you out.
Yeah, definitely. I have a comment here to show from Dr. Uma. She says, very proud of you, Ray.
Thank you.
Okay, Ray, one last question. Now, you did talk a little bit about coming out, and you did give your advice on people who are still struggling with sexuality and how would they want to come out and things like that. But if you have any last words at all as an advice you want to give.
I suppose it's the same advice that I gave earlier. You
Mm-hmm.
don't have to feel pressure to come out. I know,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, there is this pressure in the community sometimes whereby be proud of who you are, accept your identity, but they oftentimes don't consider the context of the person. Like, what if my own family or my friends are not as accepting? And
Yeah.
I know for a fact that they will kick me out of the house, or they will ostracize me and keep me out of the group. So these are some of the things that the whole community should consider. Don't ever you don't have to force yourself to come out. Come out whenever you're ready. Come out when you know you can stand on your own 2 feet.
Mm.
Okay? Because at the end of the day, whether they support you or not, you have to make sure that you can take care of yourself.
Right.
Hmm.
Right. With that, I think we have come to the end of the episode. Thank you
Any
very
more?
much, Ray.
Welcome. Any more questions from the audience?
No, I think we've covered
Okay.
everything. Yeah, because
Uh,
I try to, slit in the questions whenever they are relevant, so I don't keep it at the end. But yeah,
okay.
yeah.
All
Thank you
right.
so
Thanks.
much. This was fun. So many questions, so many viewers. You're really famous, Ray.
Please go follow me on my Instagram.
And look at his pretty photos.
Yes. Okay, but thank you for having me, Tammy.
My pleasure. I'll see you in a bit.
Okay. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Okay, thank you so much for tuning in, guys. So for those of you who wants to watch all the episodes from season 1 till season 2, you can head on to Beginner Resources YouTube channel and all the episodes will be there. And if YouTube videos are not your thing, the episodes are also on Spotify. Just look for Let's Talk with Tammy. And until I see you guys in 2 weeks, have a good weekend. Stay safe. Good night.